Pat Walker here with Mission Winners. It is Sunday and once again time to dive into the ETFs and MAXLIST stocks. ARK Innovation, and you can always see the name in the up top here, what it is. Okay, ARK Innovation, and you can see it's just basing here. Weekly on the left, daily on the right. It's forming a nice base. See the volume that came into it on Friday? There's a nice base, as I stated. That tells us you could punch up the ETF and look at what the top 10 holdings are. You might find something that looks pretty good. ARK Innovation, ARKK. Let's continue onwards. Next generation internet. Now this one's strong also. It's formed a cup with a high handle. You can see it on the weekly and you can see it on the daily. ARK next generation internet doesn't look too bad either, does it? Biotech doesn't look good at all. Look, I mean, do a compare and contrast. You can say, oh, that doesn't look too bad. Look at it, it's dropping. It's below the 50-day. Leave it alone. Stay away from biotech. Done. Cloud computing doesn't look too bad either. Technology related. Now, here's why we do the setup we do. You go, well, I see it here, maybe a little base. But then you look at the weekly, okay, and I'll draw this to help you. That's my goal, is to help speed up that learning curve. You say, oh, that's a decent, maybe forming a cup with a handle. Also, look at how it closed on the weekly. It closed near the highs. That's good. Look at the daily. Look at how it closed near the highs on a pickup in volume. Now, I'm not saying buy it now. It hasn't triggered yet, but it's something to watch. Also, cloud computing stocks to see if there's an opportunity there. You can punch up CLOU top 10 holdings. Maybe you'll find an opportunity, but it tells you the group's okay. Energy's picking up a little bit, but it's still kind of lagging, a little choppy here. So just be a little cautious. There's no real clean entry on it at this point in time. Dow Jones Internet. Look at this, technology related. Again, Dow Jones Internet hanging in there, looks good. Now, there wasn't a lot of volume power on Friday, but it's trending up, so that's good to see. Looking at some internet stocks, move onward. IBD 50, basing here, kind of forming a cup with a little low-level handle right here. I'll draw this to help you. Base, it's nothing fancy. Also note though, look at the volume pickup on that bar. Needs to push through these tops on volumes. Now, that's the IBD 50. It's a good proxy of leading growth stocks. It's the IBD 50. There we go. Continue onwards. Gold, kind of choppy here. Gold miners, I'd stay away from that for right now. Junior gold miners, a little choppy here. I'd stay away with it from right now. Gold, we own it from down lower. Okay, you can see here and here, and it's still working. We'll let it work. Until it takes out these tops across here, I'm not going to buy any more, okay? And if it falls more, we'll lock in more profits. There we go. Cybersecurity. Now look, this has formed a cup with a high handle right here. Here's the cup, and here's the high handle. Possibly take that out. And what catches your eyes? Always look at price combined with volume action. Look at the price and volume pickup on that bar. They bought that into the close on Friday, folks, okay? Cybersecurity, technology related. You'll hear that probably a couple times. Biotechnology, there's nothing there, leave it alone. Online retail's picking up a little bit. I can find something in that area. Let's see, is there any online retail stocks? What's that one? Nile? No, that's not it. River? No. Amazon, there you go. Check into it. There we are. Oil and gas picking up. You can see a little shelf right here. One thing I'll say though is it's kind of loose here. This is wide and loose action. You get caught on the wrong side, you got a problem. Also rallied up, not a lot of volume power there. There are some tops there, but it is a little choppy. Be cautious with that. Choppy charts indicate high investor emotion. You don't want to get caught in high investor emotion stocks or high emotion sections, okay? Technology, look at this, software technology forming a cup with a high handle. You can see it on the weekly, you can see it on the daily. Now, it looks great, but it tells us something more important. Software stocks, an area to look into. Technology, yes. That's connecting the dots. Let's move on. Medicine. Look at the compare and contrast. Say, oh, that doesn't look too bad in software technology. Oh, that doesn't look so good in medicine. What does that tell us? Stay away from medical stocks right now. Done. Okay. Mid-cap spacing here. Look at the weekly. Look at the daily. Takes out that top. This could be a potential buy. Or mid-cap stocks. That's power for us. What to know, what to look for. Aerospace and defense is working for us, okay? And it's just steadily trending up the ADMA. We're in good shape with it. We'll just let it work. What has it told us? Oh, we can be involved with aerospace defense stocks if we want to, Or we can just own the ETF. And ain't nothing wrong with that. U.S. home building kind of got hit here, okay? That was some selling volume on that, so be careful with home building stocks. IBUY. Oh, by the way, there's a reason why. Did you see what interest rates did at the end of the week? Just punch up some home building stocks and take a look at PHM, look at KBH, ITB. Just take a look at those and you go, oh, XHB. Oh, maybe I should stay away. There you go. And you'll see some of that in here, okay? S&P 500 growth's hanging in nice. Not a lot of volume power, but it's a good chart here. You've got yourself, and I'll draw it to help you. I try to go slow enough to be thorough and specific, but fast enough so the video isn't too long out of respect for your time too. I just want you to know that, okay? You can see a cup with a handle. This is why I look at both. You look at this and say, oh, I just see a little cup thing forming here, okay? Oh, but look at the weekly. It's a cup with a handle. Watch this. You can shrink this. Oh, there it is. Same chart, right? On a daily. That's why we do it. Let's move on. IWM, small caps picking up a little bit. What catches your eyes? Some volume pickup on Friday. It's a little overhead supply in here, but it does show us that maybe small caps are going to start participating too. Rally spreading out. Real estate, stay away. Look at it's dropping on volume. Leave real estate stocks, stay away right now. Done. By the way, think about this. Interest rates started to rise. Think about that. You're thinking about buying a house, and all of a sudden, oh, the rates are up. I don't think we should buy right now for a mortgage. There you go. They're all connected. Let's move on. Transportation's a little choppy here. No real clean entry. Be careful with that. Airlines picking up a little bit. Love that ticker symbol, JETS, okay? You can see there's a little handle right here, and you look at the weekly, and I'll draw this to help you. There it is. Also note, this is very important lesson for everybody. Note the close on the bars. Look at where it closed on the weekly. Closed in the top fourth of its range on a pickup in volume. This might start to lift up. Slight volume pickup into the close here. Going across these tops, take out the highs of that bar. Jets, okay? Something to look into. Let's move on. Banks, leave them alone. Done. I mean, look at the compare and contrast. Well, that one's kind of hanging in there. That's just choppy. There's nothing there. Leave the banks alone. Done. Insurance picked up. Look at the simple base, and insurance picked up on Friday. Didn't pick up on a lot of volume, but it did pick up. Maybe looking at some insurance stocks. There we go. But always regional banks, choppy, leave it alone. Done. Mid cap, nice base forming right here, and you can see it. I'll draw this line on the weekly to help you. And again, admission winners, we don't want to just give ideas. We want to educate. There's the weekly, and I can do this too, just to show you. It's just connecting the tops, folks. I mean, there it is. You don't have to overthink it. You say, gosh, I guess if it takes out that line with good volume, that might be a good buy. There you go. There you go. That's simple. Nail, dropping down, home building related. As I cited before, rising interest rates. Folks, you're thinking about buying a house. Interest rates are going up. Hey, I think we'll wait. There you go. And it's reflected in the charts. Oil services, it's picking up, but it's way down. Look at all the overhead supply. I'd stay away from it for right now. There we go. Pharmaceuticals, they need drugs. And if you own this, you might need drugs. That's dad humor. You got to have fun too. The point here is this, and it's a serious point. Okay, be careful with pharmaceutical stocks. There's no power there right now at this time. QLD's picking up a little bit. You can see it on the weekly. You can see it on the daily. Slight volume pickup. Picking up a little bit. What does that tell us? The NASDAQ 100 big growth stocks look like they're starting to improve. That's good to see. QQQ, same situation. Retailing's been steadily trending up. Now you can say, boy, this is kind of choppy and a lot of gaps. You're exactly right, but it also tells us something else. Maybe look into some retailing stocks. It was showing it right back here. Cup with a handle on the weekly. And again, you look at the ETF, you see strength there. Look at some of the stocks in that ETF. Retailing stocks. There we go. What could be a name that's just off the top of my head? Like a company like Walmart. I'm not looking at the chart right now. I'm just saying it's a big retailer. There you go. Let's move on. Cloud computing's picking up. Look at this. Formed a cup with a handle here. There's the handle on the daily that it lifted out. Rallied up, pulled back, lifting up again. What does this tell us? Cloud computing doesn't look too bad. Maybe I should look into some cloud computing stocks. There you go. Always focus on the leaders too. Silver picked up a little bit here on Friday and then backed off. I don't like when stocks break out and go back into the base, okay? And it fell quite a bit just to get there. So just be a little careful. If you're interested in buying silver, just go a little smaller because it is a little loose there. Here's a very important lesson. When you see charts that price bars have large ranges, that's called wide and loose, okay? When they're whipping around like this. That's wide and loose. That indicates high investor emotions. Just be a little cautious with things like that. We like simplicity. We like nice tight action, which shows that investors are methodical entering the stock. They're not getting crazy and they're not whipping in and then whipping out. Steel picking up a little bit. There's some gaps in here, but it does tell us something. Here's the weekly. Steel's picking up a little bit. Steel stocks, maybe look into it. There you go. Semiconductors picking up a little bit, but a little choppy too. Be careful with semiconductors. Move on. Semiconductor, Direxion semiconductors, same situation. A lot of overhead in there too, so watch out for that, okay? Here we go. Spiders picking up a little bit. S&P 500. It's a cup with a high handle right here, folks. There's the cup, high handle, going across these tops. I already have price alerts set on it. See if that starts to lift up. Okay, now you could buy that ETF, or you could buy it's the S&P 500. It's giving you a green light saying, oh, the rally's spreading out. I can look at other stocks. There you go. That's power for us. We use it. Same thing's true with SSO picking up. Solar dropping here. There's not a lot of power there. This is the daily. You look, that doesn't look too bad. And then you look at the weekly, go, there is a ton of overhead supply here. Yeah, be a little cautious with that, okay? Just giving you a heads up. Small cap, still not a lot of power in small cap. Watch out for that. Oil's picking up a little bit, but it's still a lot of overhead supply here, okay? So just kind of watch. Be a little cautious with that group, okay? Aerospace and defense has been steadily rising. That's nice to see. Look at the trend of the ADMA. By the way, this is the 50-day simple. This is the 21-day exponential. This is the 8 EMA. There's over a year and a half to 2 years of study in that moving average, okay? And an individual that had profound impact on me in working for this moving average was Ed Sakota. So there we go. He did use the 5 EMA. It's too tight for stocks. Biotechnology, nice base here, but you can see it's choppy, not showing a lot of power on the weekly or the daily. What does that say? Be careful with biotechnology done. Home builders. We talked about home builders. They don't like rising interest rates, and it fell right here. Still looks okay, but it needs to show some power. Okay, up power with volume. There we go. Be careful with home builders. How do you build houses? You need materials. Look what it's doing. It's dropping on volume. Be a little cautious with that sector. Here we go. On down the line. Communications, technology related, acting decent here. Ran up, pulled back, bouncing off the ADMA. I'll share this with you. It was a nice base breakout back here on the weekly. It's a little choppy here. The trend is up, but as far as a safe entry at this point in time, it's a little bit more aggressive. Be careful with that. And there was some selling volume on these two bars here. There you go. The trend is still up though. Just be aware of that. Energy picking up, as I cited early. Going up. There's no real clean entry here, but it has told us for several, 5, 6 days. Hey, energy's a place to look into. There you go. Financials. Oh, look at this base on financials. Isn't that nice? Here, I'll do something. I'm going to make this chart a little bit better for us. And also note this, folks. Please don't think you've got to get the line right to, it's like, oh, it was a little bit above there. You're close enough, okay? Simple bases work. What's another key point? Oh, look at the volume pickup on that bar. And look at close near the highs. Maybe it's going to cross this top. What does that tell us? Hey, maybe look into XLF to buy or financial stocks. There we go. Let's move on here. Industrials picking up, trending nicely. That's good to see. What does that tell us? Maybe look into some industrial stocks. But it's been saying that for a while. Okay, there you go. Let's continue onward. Technology, chopping around here a little bit, needs to push through these tops here and do it with volume. Okay, just need that volume power coming into it. Price and volume. Consumers, look at this. Consumer staples, what does this tell you? Stay away. Now, I want to share something that most people don't know. This will help you. Consumer stocks. Consumer stocks are defensive. Soap, toothpaste, right? Stuff like that. They're consumer stocks. Laundry detergent, you got to have it. At least I hope you use it. You know what I'm saying? When they're dropping, it tells you those are defensive sectors, right? You got to have toothpaste. You got to have soap. Okay. At least I hope you use it. And I'm teasing. You got to have a little fun too. But when they're selling it, what does that mean? Well, money's going into more aggressive areas. That's connecting the dots. And it has been dropping for a little bit. And that's why we own, more growth-oriented stocks and have. Continue onwards. Utilities going up. All right. Kind of a defensive sector. And what interest rate sensitive too, right? Having to do with interest rates. There you go. That's connecting the dots. Healthcare, stay away. There's nothing there. Leave it alone. Consumer discretionaries hanging in okay again, right here, bouncing off the 21-day, slight volume pickup. You could look into consumer discretionary stocks. Metals and mining lifted up, a little choppy there. Needs to go across these tops on the weekly. That corresponds with the high on here, okay? Also note, you see this is called wide and loose action, okay? I mean, look at that thing plummet. Oh, it goes up. It plummets. Oh, it goes up. High investor emotions. Be careful with that. Emotions, most people never really ponder this, team. Emotions, investor emotions are reflected in the chart action, the price and volume action. Chew on that for a while. Own that for a while. Own that forever. You'll be a better investor. Continue onwards. Oil and gas lagging, leave that alone. Retail's a little choppy here. Still not a lot of power. Picked up a little bit on Friday. Okay, but it's whipping around here quite a bit. You can see it on the daily. You can see it on the weekly. High investor emotions in retail, something to watch for. Software's kind of basing here and it's starting to pick up. Look at how it closed on the weekly near the highs. That's good. Picking up here on the daily. Now it's technology related. What does that say? Maybe looking at some technology stocks. There you go. Before we dive into the MAXLIST, I want to take a moment to discuss something that could be the key to understanding how our ETF scans and the MAXLIST stocks are interconnected this week. You ask, hey Pat, what are you talking about? Consumer sentiment. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter for our favorite stocks on the MAXLIST? Well, consumer confidence plays a significant role in how companies perform, especially those heavily tied to consumer spending. When consumers are confident, they spend more on discretionary items, things like tech gadgets, retail goods, and other non-essentials. And where do we see this spending reflected first? You guessed it, in sectors like consumer discretionary and tech, which we track with our ETF scans. This week, as we focus on the ETF scans, pay attention to how these consumer-focused sectors are performing. They can give us a clue as to whether MAXLIST stocks that thrive on consumer enthusiasm, like Apple, Amazon, or Tesla, are set to benefit from a positive sentiment boost or are facing potential headwinds. Essentially, it's all connected. The broader sentiment impacts the sectors, and those sector shifts ripple through to our favorite individual stocks. So as we move from the ETF overview into the MAXLIST today, keep that broader story in mind. Consumer sentiment is the undercurrent that could explain some of the moves we're seeing. And it's a great reminder of how intertwined economic factors are with the stocks we track. Oh, and by the way, let me tell you about our next public webinar, Building a Solid Trading Strategy from Scratch. This will be on October 30th. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the webinar or any of the other great content we put out. Now, let's get into the MAXLIST. Apple. Apple's got a nice base going across here on the weekly. As you can see, going all the way here, you got one big tail bar, but other than that, and I'll draw this to help you. Look at those clean tops. Runs up, backs off, runs up, backs off, runs up, backs off, does it 4 times. Maybe, I'm not saying it will, but people notice, you all see it. I didn't even have to explain it to you. Takes out this line right here, and it's the same line on the daily. Takes that out with volume, okay? That would be good. And I'm going to give you another great lesson. Emission winners, we teach these things. Clean tops across here, but you can see this, it ran up and backed off, ran up and backed off, ran up and backed off. It needs to take that out with volume. I'm just stressing it again to help. So, and I'll shrink this just a bit. There we go. Let's move on. Amazon. starting to pick up a little bit, bouncing off the rising 21-day moving average line. It's above the 50-day. The 50-day steadily rising. But what do you note? It started to pick up a little bit. This is AMZN. It started to pick up a little bit on Friday, and the volume picked up. That's something to watch, okay? Taking out these highs on Amazon. What do we want to see? We want to see a good market. We want to see Amazon take out Friday's highs with good volume. There you go. I'm being specific and precise. And remember, it's not a long base breakout. It's less reliable. How do we control risk? If we buy less shares. On these videos, I don't want to just give ideas. I want to educate what to do and why do it. That's the power. Not knowing what to do, knowing why do it. Because the why is then transferable to other stocks. And that helps us make better investing decisions. And that's what we teach all the time at Mission Winners. Let's move on. Here we go. Alibaba, China related, China stimulus, and out of the blue, this took off, and it took off fast. Here was the risk, gaps. You can say, boy, it did work. That's true. Be careful chasing price gaps. Super fast move. It's extended now. Be cautious with that, okay? But it has been, was a fast move there, okay? But again, price gaps, you got to watch out for those. So just, there's no real safe entry here right now at this point in time, okay? Just pointing that out. BIDU, same situation. Google. Now, what do you see on Google? Well, it had a cup with a high handle. It's formed a cup with a high handle right here. This is GOOGL. Here's the cup. Here's the handle. I'll do something as a service right in here. Notice, and this is what we teach in Mission Winners. Oh, up on good volume. Oh, down on lower volume, down on lower volume. Oh, started to pick up again on a pickup in volume. Not huge. See that downward sloping trend line? It needs to take that out. That line, the highs of Friday, and it needs to do it with volume. Okay? Volume equal power. Lack of volume equal no power. Good to remember, good to use. Goldman Sachs is chopping around here, okay? It's a decent base on the weekly and the daily, but I'd like to show you something. And again, these are the things we teach that most people don't know. Oh, that looks pretty good. I pull back. Look, runs right up and gaps down. Runs right back up near those old highs. They take it right back down. What does that tell us? And I'll draw a line to help you. There's a seller up there. And by the way, when I say that, don't think this is some kind of a deep, dark, mysterious conspiracy. No, it's just saying that when it goes up there, it's met with sellers. That's all. And then they take it down, runs up. So what does that tell us? It needs to take out this line and it needs to go above it, push through that line with volume. That volume, buying volume, tells us the buyers have overtaken the sellers. Most people don't know that, but at Mission Winners, that's what we do, that's what we teach, and it works. And by the way, it's not hypothetical, it's the real world. Looking at the charts. Let's move on. This is fun though, isn't it? Let's move on here. MasterCard has a small shelf right here, and you can say, oh, that's a red bar. This is a great lesson we teach. Where did it close on that bar? It closed right near the highs. There's power there. Close near the highs here, close near the highs here, right? Push through a little bit on a slight pickup in volume. It tells us there's a seller there, but it looks like it's close to pushing through there. Will it? I don't know. I don't know the future. But team, I do know this, and you do too. From looking at a lot of charts, you developed a sound investing knowledge base on what to look for and what to do. What do we want to see? Take out these tops with volume. There you go. Another very important lesson I'd like to share with everybody. Scrunch up your chart bars enough that you can see a lot of action, but don't do it so much, so tight, you go, God, I can't see anything. Find that medium that works for you. Like right in here, I like this spacing. That's for me. Yours may be different, and that's fine. So there's Meta picking up. And did we buy more on Friday? You bet we did, a couple of times. There we go, pyramiding. Another important lesson we teach at Mission Winners, and I taught this at the IBD meetups, rules of proper pyramiding. All right, this is really important. Your first purchase is X number of shares, whatever that is. Your second purchase is always less than X. We'll call it Y. Your third purchase is always less than Y. Okay? I'm not being funny here. I'm being serious. Never pull your average price up too high with each purchase. Buy less shares each time. That works. That works. Okay? And I used to teach that at the CanSlim IBD meetups. Let's move on. Here we go. Microsoft. I mean, look at comparing. Oh, that looks kind of grinding up there, up the ADMA. That looks pretty good. That ain't doing nothing. That's right. Do we own it? No, there's no spot here right now. Just leave it alone. Continue onwards. Netflix. It's forming a little base up here. There's some accumulation coming into it. It's something you might want to watch coming into the next week. Okay? It's Netflix. MAXLIST stuff. What do I like? I like the volume pickup that started to pick up here a little bit on Friday. Something to watch. By the way, take a look, folks. You can't catch me in a lie. I already have the price alert set for Monday. There you go. Let's move on. NVIDIA. We bought NVIDIA back in here, okay, and it's working. I'd like to show you something else important. This is why, to help you. Weekly on the left, daily on the right. You see that clean and simple base on the weekly right there, and it pushed through with a volume pickup right there, okay? We were buying in here and added to it several times. They all don't do this, but it sure is nice when they do. And then we bought more here and we rode that pony. There you go. But it's forming another base here, as you can see. And I'll draw something that will help you too. This is an important lesson. Again, these are the things, this is real world stuff. This isn't just textbook stuff. The base, it's a cup with a handle right here. Please don't think that the tops have to be perfectly flat. They know a gradual sloping downtrend line is just fine. But what do you want to see? As I've stated before, you want to push through that line and you want to push through with volume. There we go. Let's move on. Square, there's nothing there. Oh, excuse me, I refreshed it. There is. Okay, there's a base forming here you can see on the weekly. Okay, you can kind of see it on the daily. It's not real clean. There's some tops across here. There is a slight, and I'll draw this to help you. There's a slight downward sloping trend line. Here's the weekly or the daily. And I just scrunched it up so you can see this better. And I can draw this right here. There it is. Same line. Just needs to take that out. But what will it need? We'll need to see volume on the chart and a good market. The M and Mission winners market. We're almost done. Let's move on. Tesla. Tesla runs up and tails right back off on volume. So what do we need to see? We need to see this start to pick up with volume. Maybe bouncing off the rising 21-day. Something to watch. But I have to tell you this. Always be aware if there's news coming on a stock. Always be aware of that. And that will help you. That will help you. Especially if the news is earnings. I'm not saying they have earnings coming out right now, but just be aware of that, okay? Visa. Ticker symbol's V. V. This is loose. Kind of loose, whippy in here. Also note the selling volume on the weekly. Be careful with that. All right, just be careful. It's not real clean and simple now, so just err to the side of caution. All right, team, that's our weekly review. Hope it helps you get a clearer picture of where the market's headed and what stocks to keep an eye on. By the way, don't forget about our weekly top stocks to have on your watch list video coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're curious about what we covered last week, you can find the link to that video in the top right corner. Remember, these watch list videos are just a small taste of what our VIP members get with the daily key list videos on missionwinners.com. So if you're serious about finding those super performance stocks, consider joining us. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. What are your thoughts on today's market review? Do you have any questions or concerns? Feel free to drop a comment below. I love hearing from you. Thanks for sticking around for the whole video. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And remember, stay sharp, keep learning, and keep finding those winners.